Connecticut makes Connected Communities Grant Awards. Last mile funding announced in California. Reconnect back with $173 million for projects in 10 states. An inquiry by the FCC into data caps. And yet another fine from the FCC because ESPN just can't stop using emergency alert tones. Those stories and more on This Week in the Broadband Universe. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Craig Corbin. Connecticut's Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has awarded $28 million in the first round of the state's Connected Communities Grant Program. SNET will receive $3.85 million for projects in 7 areas statewide. Verizon, $41.8 million for a project on the board in Greenwich. GoNet Speed, $1.04 million for a pair of projects in East Windsor and Meriden. Comcast, the biggest recipient of funding, with $21.26 million for projects in 75 municipalities. The Connected Communities Grant Program assists in expansion of broadband infrastructure and with money from the Capital Project Fund. Applications for the second round of funding will be accepted until the remaining $12.8 million has been expended. U.S. Department of Agriculture this week announcing $173 million in broadband funding for projects in 10 states via the Reconnect program. This marks the 5th round of Reconnect grants. Among the awards, $22 million to Standing Rock Telecommunication for work in both North and South Dakota. A $29 million loan was made to Roosevelt County Rural Telephone Cooperative in New Mexico, $10 million loan to Pembroke Telephone Cooperative in Virginia, and in Arizona, Tabletop Telephone Company receiving $4 million loan for a high-speed internet project in Yavapai County. Reconnect investments were made for projects in Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Kansas, Montana, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oregon, South Dakota, and Virginia. Reconnect is uniquely designed to fund the most difficult high-speed internet projects in rural, remote, and unserved communities nationwide. $41 million for last-mile broadband projects awarded in California. CPUC, the California Public Utilities Commission, approving the 7th round of grants as part of the $2 billion last-mile federal funding account program. 9 projects bringing high-speed internet to better than 30,000 locations in Madera, Napa, and San Luis Obispo counties will be funded with the grants. SurfNet received 5 of the 9 grants. The Indiana Connectivity Program has announced the award of $1.5 million for broadband expansion in the Hoosier State. SurfNet slated to receive the largest portion with just less than $1 million. PSC Fiber awarded $149,000, with nearly $197,000 going to Mulberry Telecommunications. This marks the 11th round of broadband awards in the Indiana Connectivity Program. Guilty pleas have been entered in U.S. Circuit Court by Q-Link Wireless, along with its CEO, Issa Assad, for defrauding the federal Lifeline program that provides discounted connectivity services to low-income citizens. The scheme resulted in taking more than $100 million from the program over the course of 8 years. Assad also pleaded guilty to money laundering that defrauded the Paycheck Protection Program. According to the FCC, Assad's plea agreement recommends serving a statutory maximum of 5 years in prison for the Lifeline-related fraud, 10 years in prison for the money laundering charge. Assad and Q-Link will also pay $110 million in restitution to the FCC by January the 15th of 2025 and $1.7 million in restitution to the U.S. Small Business Association. In addition, a forfeiture judgment of nearly $17.5 million was placed against Assad. ESPN's promo for the 2023-2024 NBA season included emergency alert system tones, and now the FCC has proposed a fine of more than $146,000 for violating EAS rules. The commission received complaints last October about the promo. The FCC proposed the fine in part because, quote, such violations undermine the integrity of the EAS by desensitizing the public to the potential importance of warning tones, end quote. Additional justification It's not the first time ESPN has violated EAS rules. Among the multiple prior violations came during an airing of the 30 for 30 documentary Roll Tide, War Eagle on October 20 of 2020. ESPN has 30 days to pay the fine or file an objection with the FCC. In other news from the FCC, an official inquiry will be launched into how data caps impact consumers and competition. The Commission has received upwards of 3,000 comments related to broadband provider-imposed caps on the amount of data consumers can download. In the wake of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, 2 television stations and nearly 24 radio stations remain off the air. Telecom providers continue work on restoring service with outages nearly 10% at the last count in parts of Florida, North Carolina, and Virginia. Netflix just keeps on growing, 5 million new subscribers during the third quarter. Growth of its ad-supported tier jumping by 35%. Revenue up 15% year over year to $9.8 billion. Netflix is nearing the second anniversary of launching that expansion into the ad-supported business. And finally, Diamond Sports Group, owner of long-suffering Bally Sports regional sports networks across the nation, is announcing a naming rights deal with well-known sports betting platform FanDuel. For those scoring at home, this marks the third name change in the past couple of years. Just keep the Atlanta Braves on the air next season. I really don't care what you call it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on This Week in the Broadband Universe.